Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, let's talk about how people always talk about no makeup, right? But then they just look like they're wearing loads of makeup. And listen, sometimes it does take a lot of makeup to make it look like you're not wearing that much makeup. But we're talking real life here. We're talking go to work. We're talking go to perhaps somewhere you're not meant to typically wear makeup, the beach. So that's what we are doing today. I have a few tips to show you for no makeup, looking like you're wearing a bit of makeup, but not crazy. But just before we get into it, I am very happy to tell you that this video is sponsored by Merit. You know I love Merit. I adore Merit. This is like my third time working with them. I adore them. I love them. I know you love them. I had so much great feedback from all of you using their products. And Merit have a really amazing sale coming up, and there is an exclusive offer for you. So listen up. Merit is one of my absolute favorite brands. This is a brand I rely on, and I don't just mean I love Merit. I rely on these products when I leave the house, when I attend events, when I go somewhere where I know I need my makeup to look flawless, spotless, sometimes undetectable, long-lasting. Merit is that quality I reach for. Reason being, Merit's quality is that luxury standard. The standard you get actually is actually a lot better than a lot of luxury brands, but you find with some high-end luxury brands that you're paying this super high price point for not much of a return when it comes to the product quality and the standard that you're using. Merit is an affordable luxury. It is that high quality product that feels like and works like luxury high end, but you don't feel like guilty for spending your money on it. What I love, especially coming from a makeup artist's point of view, these products work and blend and melt beautifully into the skin. They are very much workable to your favor. So say you're using their minimalist concealer, for example, one of my absolute favorite concealers. You can choose to go a little bit more full coverage, or you can use that tiny little bit in areas, and it gives you the most beautiful skin-like finish. I would bet money, not that you should bet, anyone who uses these products will fall in love with them. I don't care what age you are, the texture of your skin tone, you will find something for you, and it will be your new go-to. It will be your new I can't live without. I cannot speak highly enough of Merit. Another thing I love is how the brand looks so consistent with itself. If you're into like your makeup matching, you're having a little set, this is a great holiday gift option as well. We have everything coming up. So here's the offer for you. This is incredible. Merit are offering you, the viewers of this video, an exclusive access to their sale before it even starts. They are giving you 20% off using the code and the link. I'm going to leave it down below in the description box for you. 20% off before anyone else can shop this sale. The sale actually starts on the 25th of November. So my code, that exclusive code, will stop working 24th of November, midnight. Can't use that code anymore. And this is a discount for everything site-wide on their website. And then after that, you don't need to use a code. All discounts will be applied to your basket, but get in there before everyone else. Grab what you want. They also do these really cute signature bags, and they actually have a mini version. It's so cute. It is so cute. They have a miniature version of the bag as well, which comes with all orders during the cyber sale. No order minimum either. So as I said, I'm going to be using some of my favorite Merit products throughout this video. They are all linked down below in the description box. I urge you to use this discount while they are offering it. They're one sale a year. They're gonna last you a really long time, but they are gonna change how you see your makeup. They are so stunning. They are so beautiful. So if you've seen me talk about them before and you thought, oh, I really want to try them out, but it's not quite within my budget this month, check out this sale. I am beyond happy that people are gonna get to try out these products. So let's get into it. I did briefly prep my skin. I used the Merit Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. This is on the newer end from Merit, but I don't like to overload my skin with products, right? This is the thing with no makeup. I don't want to have to use serum, moisturizer, primer, sunscreen, all this stuff. The most you can like lessen the amount of products you're using, the better. So when you have like a moisturizer that's also priming, perfect. And then for my actual base, I actually use a shade too dark. I went in with a Max Factor Miracle Pure Skin Reset. I'm using the shade 60 to 80 light medium, but I did also use the light shade too, which is I think is more my shade. But this is just more of a skin tint, so it's going to erase any redness but still give you really good coverage. So if you have redness, rosacea, things like that, this is a great product. But also it's not oily, it's semi-matte, so it's not over hydrating despite it being a serum. So as I mentioned, I've done my foundation, we're gonna start with concealer. I'm using the Merit Minimalist. I'm using the shade Sand. The reason I love this concealer is you'll see it's very buttery on the skin, and the way it melts into the skin, I always think, right, there's something about no makeup where I think if I can't do this, or if I couldn't do this with my fingers on a commute, it's not natural enough. I want it to be mistake-free, right? Really, really easy to blend, really easy to use. You don't have to spend loads and loads of time blending it, making sure it's blended into the skin, and that's exactly what this concealer does. It just melts into any formula as well. I've used many foundations under this. I've used powders. The way it just effortlessly melts into the skin is absolute perfection. When you're doing a no makeup look, we don't want to cover the whole of the under eye with product. Now, I always put product here and I always put product there because they tend to be the areas that the blood sits, right? That sounds really gross, but you know, there's darkness under our eyes a lot of time can be surface skin, but also it can be like where the blood sits under our eyes. And then you can take whatever's left of your finger right across. When you are using less concealer, but you still want that brightness, right? Always fill in this area here. I've explained this a few times before, and I would do this with something that's a little bit more brighter. But what this does scientifically is when light bounces in and you have almost like these reflectors here, something bright, it kind of bounces the light off this way and gives us a little bit more brightness around the eye area. How many times can I say bright? So I'm just gonna tap that in that area. I'm not blending it out anywhere. I'm literally keeping it on this side of the nose. You can take it up this way, but don't bring it into the bridge of the nose. You want to keep the edges, the sides of the nose nice and bright. And don't bring it too far down here either. And the brighter you go with your concealer, the more effective this is. If you wanted to, put white there, put a white cream, you know what I mean? Contouring is our next step. Now, contouring is, you know, I mean, do whatever you want, but also don't. Contouring is meant to be where shadow naturally occurs on your skin, right? On your face. And that can be where your natural shadow sits, or you mimic shadow on the face, right? So when we're contouring the nose, or we're making the cheekbones higher, we might move the shadow up a bit or in a bit to slim. So we're mimicking the appearance of shadow. So when you're doing a contour in your everyday life and you want it to look as natural as possible, this is a bronze balm in CN from Merit. I always like to look in a place that has an even amount of light coming in, right? So it could be your bathroom with all the lights on. It can be in front of a window. Just don't be shadowed on one side of your face. And I like to look in the mirror and I like to look down and concentrate and focus on those areas where naturally my shadow occurs, and just fill in those little bits. I like to fill in my nose here. I don't take it down because I don't need it there. And you can see on me, shadow comes in right to this area. So I am going to fill it in a little bit. I'm going to take the Merit foundation brush, and this already has my foundation on. The best thing when you want your product to blend into your skin, perhaps you've done a little bit too much, you're using cream product, don't clean your brush with your foundation on from that day, right? I'm not saying get yesterday's brush. But just use that excess to help blend everything in. This product blends in beautifully anyway, but say you have one of those cream blushes that is insanely pigmented and you're like, I don't want that today. Just leave that foundation on your brush. Clean it. I would not saying use yesterday's foundation because you're gonna clean it. And just blend it all out nicely. So now we have a little bit of our contour or bronzer on our brush. We have a little bit of our foundation. I'm using the lowest tip of a brush and I'm gonna go from the corner of my eye and just brush some bronzer up in this direction, just to give us a bit of that natural lift, like so. Naturally contoured, naturally defined. Oh, that line I left on my nose. One key thing to natural makeup or no makeup is texture, right? We don't want the makeup to look like makeup. So what I'm gonna do just for one moment is just let this sit on the skin for a few minutes. That's before we go into highlight. That's before we go into powder. I am gonna use another Merit product to highlight, one of the most beautiful products they do. But I do just wanna show you some eyeshadow first. And these are from Lisa Eldridge. These are the Liquid Silk Liquid Eyeshadows. These come in some stunning nude tones. These are like the ultimate no makeup eyeshadows. There are some deeper browns and stuff like that that you can build up to give yourself that smokier eye. I wanted to take this like dusky purple. This is called Ione. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, which is like this mauvey gray tone, cold lilac almost. You'll see when it's on the face. And Gaia, which is like a brown that has some bronzy warmth to it. So I'm just really gonna gently blend them around and make a shape on the eye that does look like eye makeup, does have some structure, but isn't like overly like, oh, I'm wearing eye makeup, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna take Ione. I'm actually gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand just so I can have some control over how much I use. And I'm gonna use this eyeshadow brush from Merit. This has a really beautiful blending brush one side and then a more precise tip brush on the other. This is a perfect size because it's in between a huge blending brush and a smaller blending brush. So you can use this whether you have like a hooded eye, more eye space. It gives you more control that way. So I'm gonna go into that Ione shade and I'm almost gonna map out the eye shape. You'll notice I haven't got any eye primer on at all. You don't really need it with this. And I'm just gonna go in to the socket first on the outside corner and really create this subtle lift. Disclosure, I had Botox the other day, so my eyebrows are slightly lifted, but can you see? It's this very subtle, this shade on me anyway is very, very subtle. It looks like a suggestion of a shape, suggestion of color, and I am gonna wing it. The shape I'm gonna do isn't necessarily natural, but because the shades are quite natural, you know, and this shade on me is almost undetectable, I'm gonna create that lift without me having to use loads and loads of eyeshadow or, you know, a lash or a liner. You do have some playtime, but it does dry down quite quickly. But you do have blend time. But once this is set, it is set. So you won't get any eyeshadow creasing, nothing like that. Now you can see that very, very subtle lift to the eye. This like shape here that suggests a lift. So to make this a little bit more structured, I am gonna add a darker brown to the outside corner and underneath the eye using the precision of this brush. So we're going into the shade Gaia. I really hope I'm saying these names right. I did watch her reveal video, but me and dyslexia. So I'm gonna focus that right on this outside corner and I'm almost gonna blend as I go. Usually I put down the color and blend it, you know, a little bit later, but I really want to focus on the shape, the structure, the lift that I'm making with this eyeshadow. And I would urge you to use the smallest amount at a time of these eyeshadows because they blend out really, really well. You need the smallest amount. Like I've barely used any and I'm getting this rich color. So just use the smallest amount at a time. I have this habit of lifting this brow as I do eye makeup and it always ends up a little bit crooked. And once we've blended out that shape, we can always add a little bit more onto the lid if we wanted to build up that color. And with these like more creamier eyeshadows, I like to tap to blend, so you don't necessarily have to keep, you know, windscreen wipers going backwards and forwards. You can literally tap on the lid, and that's just as good as blending with cream sometimes. I'm just gonna use the tiny point on the back of my brush just to go under the eye and literally trace the lash line. And with the blending side of the brush, again, aiming for the root of the lash, just because that's a good place to aim your brush for the blending. Just softly blend out that bottom. Now, I know that may be more eye makeup than a lot of people would like to do when they're doing a no makeup look. We are gonna soften up the lid ever so slightly. So now we've had a chance for all the complexion products to settle on my skin. I'm gonna take my brush, again, my foundation brush. I'm just gonna tap everywhere. Very gently. For any product that may be like not sitting so well on the skin, we're almost like pushing it in or it's coming off onto the brush so we get more of that natural finish. And then I'm just going to tap in some powder where I personally like to be matte. Now I believe that a natural look means having some shine on the face, so I don't like to go everywhere with powder on the face. I don't even like to when I'm doing like a full coverage look, but I just think it looks more like skin. You can see a bit more texture, you can see a little bit more, it looks a bit more skin-like when it's not all complete matte, you know what I mean? Okay, let's finish up the cheeks and the eyes. I'm gonna go in with Merit's Day Glow. This is the shade Carver, which is a stunning, it's not, I wouldn't even say this is a color, it's more like a finish, you know what I mean? Like it just has this luminous glow to it. And I'm gonna tap that. You know how I said about the contour before where you look down and you capture that contour? If you look up and just see the high points of where light catches your face, that's always a good option of where to put your highlight instead of just doing some lines on your face. I love this highlighter so much. This is one of, I don't know what it is with me, highlighters, if it's really, really good, it just makes me like giddy with excitement for some reason. Like I love highlighters. I just think they are the best. So when a highlight is really, really nice and it's not like glittery and it's not like overly shimmery and it just looks like my skin is really, really glowing, I just love it. You'll notice I did this after my powder. I like to have the areas that I want matte and then I put this on top. I don't mind putting powders on top of highlighters. I actually think it looks fine and the highlight still shows through. But with this one, it's the formula and the texture that I want from the highlight. So I like to keep it just how it is on the skin. I'm also gonna tap some of this on the eyelid into the center here. Now this will crease slightly. It's not meant for the eyes, but it's not color, so it's not gonna look like eyeshadow creasing. It's just gonna look glowy and bright. So don't worry about that. I'm only taking that halfway across just to meet with the brown that we took halfway across and tapping it in. This highlight product in particular to me is more about how the light is bouncing off your face rather than how insane the highlight is. Or the highlight is insane. It looks like glowy, just done from the spa skin. I am going to add a little bit of blush. I'm going for the House of Her Moist Ample Blusher. These are stunning. These are literally like serum blush. So they have these little pumps and they come out like this. They also do small travel versions as well. The way I like to apply these, you can absolutely use your finger, but I do prefer like a flat, fluffy brush, like a powder brush, and literally bouncing it off the skin. You'll see this is almost like, the texture's almost like a jelly serum where it has a serum-esque finish. It has this transparency that's jelly-like. See what I mean? It's really difficult to describe. And I'm putting that just on the, towards like the apples of my cheeks. When we tend to flush or run, if you're me, or walk up the stairs and you get like a little bit more flushed, it kind of occurs more in the middle of the face here. It's not up in your cheeks lifting your face, which you can apply, you know, up there if you want a bit more of a lift. But I do like, if I'm doing a no makeup look, I would prefer my blush to be where blush naturally applies. And I'm literally like, I guess like paddling it onto my face. And it's very subtle. I put this on Instagram and someone was like, where's the product? And I was like, it's subtle, but it's there. you could see it on the camera. They're just being stupid. And again, you want less coverage or you want to blend it in, foundation brush with all our product on and just tap around those areas. Now you could absolutely go in with some mascara now. You could maybe put something in the waterline. I'm going to finish off with a little bit of lipstick, and this is one of Merit's signature lips. This is the shade Ginger, which as you can guess, is just a really natural lip shade. You can make any lipstick natural as well just by tapping it on the lip like this. You will notice. Everyone's been applying lipstick since they were like 12. But look, this looks like my lip color, but better, more even. It's almost like foundation for my lips. Not like early 2000 foundation lips. I mean, it's the color of my lip and it's evening out the tone. It's gonna be super easy to top up as well because it's just a little bit on my lips. And this is it. This is our no makeup look using some incredible products from Merit and some others sprinkled in there as well. Like I said, please do check out that code and link in the description box for you. Get that 20% off before anyone else does up until midnight on the 24th of November, site-wide. Every single product I use in this video is linked down below. Thank you again to Merit for sponsoring today's video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.